Welcome back to TDX Pod, the podcast where we serve couture commentary with a side of cultural insight. I'm your host, Camille Cower.
And I'm Danny Russo, here to stir the design pot, spill that industry tea, and celebrate the beauty that is being built around us.
So today's a big one. We're talking about the Powerhouse events that's happening back to back. Of course, it's the 2025 Met Gala in New York and High Point Furniture Market in North Carolina, the Met Gala for interior designers, where fashion meets furnishings, philanthropy meets function. It's all the things. I'm so amazed by all of it.
You said back to back. I think they're happening concurrently because when's the Met Gala?
May 5th.
You're right. They are back to back. So
you just have a lot of things going on in the 26th, 27th. Let's go into that first because you're having your own galas.
Oh, I don't know if I would call them galas, but one of our new designers has been working on a project for a year and he's graduating next month. It's such a unique project that I wanted to have it featured somewhere. So it's being featured on the Urban Living Home Tour in downtown Columbus. We got a media request to do a segment on the house that we're filming next week, but I didn't expect, I signed it up just to be a tour stop, not thinking it would be much of an event, but apparently they're promoting it as our stop because I work with a good team and I don't ever say that people work for me. They all work with me because I couldn't be me without them. But Caden has spent a lot of time on this project and it's a look that's not exactly a Danny Russo look. He curated it along with me and the client. So I really wanted to get him on that. So that's happening on Sunday, May 27th, which is also High Point weekend.
April 27th.
April 27th. What did I say? I don't
May
even 27th. Know what month it is.
You have a lot going on.
We do. April 27th.
We want to make sure people know the right date so they can show up or still buy tickets. It's like $100 a ticket, right?
I don't know where to buy tickets or how to buy tickets, but I'm sure that we're going to be posting it on my social media feeds. Be sure if you're in Central Ohio that it's called the Urban Living Tour. It's sponsored by Columbus Underground, and it's like a home and garden tour. But I went to it about 20 years ago, and it was different condos being built throughout the city. And now it's turned into different condos and apartments that are being built. It's going to be really fun. It's not a real show home. Like most people are doing show homes and everything's perfect. This is an actual lived-in condo that my client, myself, and my team has curated over the last year. So I'm really excited about it.
That's great because a lot of times with these showrooms or show homes, after the tour, they get torn up or they take everything out and it's just not a sustainable thing. At least it's something that people are really living in and you can really get ideas for your own home that are livable.
My client gave me some of the best ideas and I was so impressed with it. We're going to do a separate filming for that. My client had a very eclectic taste and they've traveled the world. They have a nonprofit that they remove plastics from the oceans and that's their passion, but they've lived in Australia, they've lived in Canada, and they've settled down here in Columbus where their grandchildren are. I really connected with them and we've become friends. I really love working with them and they are creative. They've given me creative stuff. So it's been a big team effort and I really love working with the client.
That's like with most clients, though. It's a give and take because you're inspired by what their vision is, and then you create it in a perfect way for their home.
Yeah. Awesome. You're going to see things that Danny Russo has never shown and things that Danny Russo has never done. For instance, we have cabinets in a kitchen where the lowers are painted in a sage green and the uppers are in yellow. We have 18-foot ceilings where we created a fireplace wall going all the way up. The before pictures from this project and the after pictures are just going to blow your mind. We're in the middle of redoing one bathroom that is going to be the showpiece. It's not done yet, but both bathrooms we've been working on and it's just, the project's coming out perfectly. Now it's crunch time to get it ready for display and media.
You did give a little teaser of you guys putting up the drapes, right?
Oh yeah, the drapes. I recruited one of my best friends, Hayden, to help me do the drapes. And I got hit in the head with a 5-pound robot. And we used some new technology on this project called SwitchBots, where we motorized drapes with wireless robots that attach in between the drapery panels that open and close. So it's going to be really fun. I'm excited
to see. the final project. Very exciting things happening in High Point as well.
Yeah.
What do you think about all these different things that are happening?
Oh, it's just craziness. We're talking about the Met Gala. We have the Met Gala that funds the arts and inspires artists. And then we have High Point Market that also inspires artists, which are interior designers. We're in a really tough situation right now. We're in economic turmoil, not just economic uncertainty. And it's really interesting. A lot of the art funding's been slashed by the current administration in a cost-cutting effort, which I won't necessarily say is a bad thing because it'll rely more on private investors and philanthropists. So hopefully they step up to the plate to cover the funding loss in the private sector for arts. Is it a bad time to celebrate luxury? I would say no, because as a designer, I think there's a false narrative that design or designer says luxury. I come from a background of believing that design should be accessible to everyone. And we work with all different types of clients and all different types of budgets. And the client that we're going to be showcasing was on a budget and they're retired. They didn't want to blow their whole retirement on a new condo. So we were very conservative with how we spent money. Of course, we went over budget, which we always do, but we spent money in smart ways and we weren't over budget crazily. I want to say every project typically runs 20% over budget. I think on this project, we ran about 15 to 18% over budget, but I'll look those numbers up and get back to you on that when we go to record that
Well, you don't
episode.
give away all the tea.
How can designers and museums use this cultural moment for their own gain? Cultural moments being High Point Market and the Met Gala. Museums will have their own shows. The Metropolitan Museum of Art, the costuming department, which I believe Anna Wintour is the head of, started this. I recall going to the Museum of Modern Art, MoMA, in New York City, and they've run multiple exhibits. They had the Alexander McQueen exhibit. They had a couple other ones. I really wish I could have made the Alexander McQueen exhibit because he's one of my big influences and inspirations in my career. I remember walking through MoMA and they had a fashion exhibit at the time and they showcased some of Alexander McQueen's stuff, but it was a bunch of different designers. And I remember standing there looking at a pair of Rick Owens shoes, which I was wearing at the time, and they were in the museum exhibit. And I was like, what? I'm wearing these shoes and they're in the museum. So fashion and art and design and art go hand in hand. Very few fashion designers have dabbled in interior design and have been successful at it. A lot of them that do it have ghost designers. Like Ellen DeGeneres is not sitting there drawing out a sofa with the technical specs and picking out the fabrics. Neither is Carrie Underwood and Kelly Clarkson, and they're not sitting there drawing out the technical specs. Where as a designer, Christian Siriano, Rick Owens is actually doing that and very involved in the design because they really have a passion for it. Some of these other celebrities have just sold their name out and somebody licensed it out and they don't pay much attention to it. I know Ralph Lauren's very involved with his home brand. I do know Rick Owens. If you see his furniture, I can guarantee you it's probably the most uncomfortable furniture you will ever experience, but it's very Rick Owens and he has designed it as if it is art. So furniture to me is art. So the Met Gala and High Point is basically, in my world, it's an art show. When I look at furniture, I can see the craftsmanship that goes into it, whether it's the woodworking of the frame or the quality of the textile, whether it's woven or leather, and then the person that designed it. But there's so many people that are involved in designing just one piece of furniture. Whereas in clothing, you do have multiple people involved, but you have one designer typically. It's really interesting. The Met Gala, I love how they get so outrageous in these events. They go into this gala and they immediately change because some of the things they wear, they can't sit in. I've seen people being transported in cars to the Met Gala and they're basically on a stretcher. And there's a key moment where Miley Cyrus was trying to make an entrance using a car and the moment got messed up because of timing. They add such a theatrical element to the clothing that I just think is very interesting to see. It's from you and the next day, and I try not to watch it happening live because I just like reading what people are saying and then reading all the news, what's happening the next day. But I think it's one of the most special events we have in this country. And I'm excited to see what's going to come out this year.
No, it's funny when you were talking about entrances. I was thinking about how Kim Kardashian wore Marilyn Monroe's dress and she could barely walk in it. And it was like seeing a kid try to go up the stairs for the first time. But speaking on that, I also like the idea that maybe because of the way things are going and because this year's Met Gala theme is super fine tailoring Black style, and it's inspired by the Monica L. Miller Slaves to Fashion book, that maybe they'll go back and revisit vintage pieces that they're making new again. So it might not necessarily be something that they spend millions of dollars on, but maybe they go shopping and place things together to make it something new because it's all about tailoring. Yeah.
You're right. You're right on that. And men's tailoring is a lost art, in my opinion. But it's a fashion deep dive into dandyism, identity, and cultural expression across the Black dysphoria. It's going to be elegant. It's going to be classic. It's going to be necessary. The things that I was seeing were designers coming to mind is Tom Brown. And the things I was seeing looked very Art Deco from the 20s, 30s, 40s, when men would be wearing the brimmed hat, the shirt and tie, the pocket watch. And I just think it's very detail oriented. So I'm excited to see where it comes from. But more about this topic than I do.
Collaborative effort, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do see what you mean about the Tom Brown of it all, but I also think of Cab Calloway, like his style of big hats and the baggier pants, where I could go, and even seeing women, how they're going to interpret this look, because most of the chairs are men this year. They even have LeBron James in it.
Oh, he is?
So Pharrell, not to be confused with somebody's last name that I always inside joke.
LeBron James is from Akron, Ohio.
There's always that connection. I'm trying to think. Coleman Domingo is another one. Okay. I had the list somewhere, but we'll get back to it.
Lenny Kravitz on that list. He's
who?
Lenny Kravitz would be perfect to be on that list because he's the epitome of design and style, in my opinion.
He doesn't wear a lot of clothes, though.
I didn't think about that part. When he does,
he makes a statement. He's pretty consistent with his style of low-cut shirts and tight pants, whether they're pleather, leather, or anything in between. No, I'm trying to look up really quickly because I'm like, I know I should know all these names for the chairs, but I'm blanking on. The F1 race car driver, Lewis Hamilton. He's another one.
I watch F1 racing every Sunday. Like, it's my religion. Is that called NASCAR?
No. Clearly your religion.
You're talking about F1 racing.
Oh.
I like cars that drive themselves.
No. So they're Formula One. They're more like, how do I even put it? They're the more fun looking cars, the long front engines. It's Italian based. It's what they do in Monaco.
The F1. They just did it in Las Vegas.
The Cannonball. I don't even know all that. Oh, there we go. Let's see. Coleman Domingo, Lewis Hamilton, A$AP Rocky, Rihanna's husband, partner, Pharrell Williams, of course, Anna Wintour, and then with LeBron James serving as an honorary chair. It's going to be, I'm interested to see, because there's some women that kind of wear menswear so well, so I'm not going to be that excited about them, but I'm curious about the Zendayas who wasn't there last year, Rihanna, like how they're all going, because this is her boo as a chair. So I'm curious to see how she steps it up, how she wears it, because very voluptuous.
Rihanna was the chair of it either 2 or 3 years ago, and she wore like a Pope-inspired outfit. Not mistaken, that same year, Madonna performed in the hallway, and she performed like a prayer. Because it was religious themed, Rihanna was the chair.
It was like Goddess Body.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was good. Zendaya was the one that came in like in the metal with the bob. I can't wait. It raised, like when we were talking about whether or not it's good timing, and that was the thing I was thinking about. We can justify these multi-million-dollar galas when it's supporting such things as the arts, like you mentioned before. And because they are losing funding, and school arts programs are also disappearing. So I'm curious how maybe other brands can get ideas of helping fund other people's artistic efforts as well.
We're certainly in a different era. Just to throw something for the arts portion of the program, High Point's hosting a drive this year to put into schools. So if anybody that is going to High Point Market and you see this, bring any books that you may have, whether they're coffee table books or design books
Or banned books.
They are collecting books at High Point Market to distribute to schools that are losing funding. Those kind of.
That's amazing. I'm glad they're doing that. I didn't know they were doing that.
I just found out about it before we came on air.
So now that we're on the topic of High Point, let's talk about our version of the Met Gala at the High Point Furniture Market. One thing that you don't have to pay $7,000 to enter. So it's happening next weekend.
It is happening next weekend. I would love to be in attendance. If you want to call High Point Market the Met Gala, we get to see the new furniture coming down the pipeline, fashion influenced furniture, but it's literally at a slower pace than fashion. And fashion's actually slowed down because a lot of the fast fashion retailers have seen their businesses impacted by a lot of things that are happening in the market. So H&M has closed a lot of stores.
Forever 21 filed bankruptcy.
What's that other one? Zara, I think, has pulled back a lot. And well,
I know yesterday I was seeing some people, I've never shopped at some of these places anyway, but Sheen, they were saying that starting April 25th, they were going to be raising prices. I guess that's probably also going to be for all the other fashion things like that. I can't think of the name. What's the other one?
Temu.
That one too, but the other one that
Make-A-Wish.
Fashion Nova.
Oh, I don't know.
It used to be like all the rap stars we're like promote. Cardi B used to promote them. All these different rappers were promoting them at one point. I've never purchased them. Needless to say, I'm not a big fan of fast fashion anyway because of what it does to the environment. To go back to your client earlier. It all ends up in the ocean at some point.
Yeah, and it's not sustainable. And overseas, they don't have labor laws and they use child labor. They're not ethically produced. We see that in our industry a lot. And at High Point, we get to see all of the vendors explaining to us where things are sourced, where things are produced, how things are engineered. And that's one of my favorite things to see. It's thousands upon thousands of vendors from all over the world. High Point's line used to be where the world shops for furnishings. And people would come in from all over the world. I'm really interested to see how that's going to play out this year. We have limitless opportunities for networking. If you've ever wanted to go to a party, they start off with mimosas and Bloody Marys at 8 a.m. And then they're doing brunches at 11 to 2. 3
It's
p.m.
like Vegas.
And the bar's out.
It's for the most part inside
No,
markets. You have no clue what time it is. Also, it doesn't have indoor smoking, so you don't have to worry about that element of Vegas. But it's like being in a casino in that sense. You never know who's performing around every corner. I've seen Kenny G performing in a showroom before. It's very random.
That actually happened to me in Vegas. He was performing and he did it at Market too. Kenny G. Who did me and you just see? Belle Biv DeVoe.
Yeah, that was on the main stage.
Goo Dolls.
Bare Naked Ladies.
Bare Naked Ladies. It's the most mesmerizing mashup of people every year.
But it just goes back to the saying of music, fashion, design. It's all connected. It's all things that get inspired by each other. And
You'll turn a curl, run into Lisa Vanderpump.
You're your favorite housewife. Yeah. But you were also talking about parties, and there's a big one this year. You were telling me off camera about Bernhardt's new showroom. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, Bernhardt is one of America's oldest furniture brands, and they're celebrating their 145th anniversary. They've moved into a new space, which is going to be much brighter, much more easily accessible. I'm excited for them. They're having a pretty significant. We had RSVP, and they were on the seventh or eighth floor of the IHFC building, and you couldn't just get to it easily. You had to take multiple elevators and escalators, spin around 3 times, and follow the green arrow to the orange arrow, turn left at the purple arrow, and then you'd turn into the showroom. So now you could just walk through the door. So
just click your heels 3 times.
I'm happy they're doing Four Hands. Always has a great showing. They used to have a big party, and that's been toned down a lot since the pandemic. Four Hands is in Showplace, and it's a nice respite to go up to their building because they have a nice outdoor patio. You can get a drink and then just lounge outside and watch everything happening. It's great for a meeting. I'm really excited that they're bringing back Mitchell Gold and Bob Williams. MGBW Home was Mitchell Gold and Bob Williams. Mitchell Gold started the brand, and then he added his husband, Bob Williams, to the brand, so it was called MGBW. And then I believe they got a divorce. One of our brands,
allegedly,
Surrey, Rugs actually purchased the brand, and really excited they're bringing back Mitchell Gold and Bob Williams. MGBW Home was Mitchell Gold and Bob Williams. Mitchell Gold started the brand, and then he added his husband, Bob Williams, to the brand, so it was called MGBW. And then I believe they got a divorce. One of our brands,
Allegedly.
Surrey Rugs actually purchased the brand and is resurrecting it, and they have their first showing of Mitchell Gold pieces. Mitchell Gold designing the pieces for them. That's a nice resurrection, and they've purchased some of his factories in North Carolina where they rehired some of the staff that got laid off last year, and they're bringing them back. So I'm excited, very excited to see.
Oh, that's great news, especially for North Carolina.
Exactly.
It's thriving. Now, there's another one that you really enjoy, which also goes back to the theme of the Met Gala.
Noir furniture is one of my favorites to use. I have some of their pieces in my own home. They're handmade pieces out of Los Angeles. If you're a designer and you don't know Noir, I don't know how you couldn't, because it's literally when you walk into the IHFC building, they've always been on the first floor. You can always tell it's Noir because everything's moody, black and brown wood, brass and gold. They're pretty epic in our industry. They have some really great oversized pieces that I love using. I've seen what they've come out with and what they're coming out with for this market. Actually had some input on it, and they're coming out with some great pieces. Noir is one of my favorites. I've had some creative input this year into Uttermost, one of my favorites, and Moe's Furnishings. We have some really good things happening. I love lighting. Lighting is everything when it comes to market. Noir has some pieces. Curry and Company always has amazing pieces. Visual Comfort is known for all of their lighting, but Curry and Company is consistently delivering lighting and accessories that are architecturally artistic, and they're truly illuminating. Excited to see what's coming out this year. What we're going to be seeing at this market has been planned for the last 8 months, which we were in a totally different economic situation back then. And what they're going to be doing is deciding what they're going to be ordering for the next 6 months. So it's going to be interesting to have this conversation in October when we have October market.
But designers, let this be the bridge between glamour and giving, between aesthetics and advocacy, between what looks good and what does good. Thanks for tuning in for this week's episode of TDX Pod. As always, we're here to celebrate the bold, the beautiful, and the brave. Whether it walks the red carpet or graces your living room.
Tuning in, and thank you for doing this. Amazing.
Of course. We'll catch you at High Point Market and maybe a few best dressed lists too.
Totally.
All right. Bye, everyone.